Another one that I just was thinking of is my relationship with alcohol has changed dramatically over the years. And so for me personally, and again, I don't know exactly where it came from. And I think it really just came from a lack of education, understanding. But we tend to fear things that we don't know a ton about or we don't understand, right? And so if you talk to college me, I was 100% all, it's like, I went through a phase of like, I feel like when you turn 21, you're like, hey, party. And then, at some point, hopefully you dial it in or maybe you don't. That's fine too. But for me, it was like I had like a hard 6 months. And then, it was like, oh, okay, I don't want to feel like shit anymore. All right. But the
Yeah.
biggest thing I always struggled with alcohol was basically in my brain, the transaction was if I drink alcohol, I'm going to get fat because I did know enough about like, oh, it affects your hormones negatively. And, oh, like Whole30 tells me alcohol is bad. So like, again, back to like the good foods, bad foods, whatever. And so what happened was I like overspun and I went from like drinking occasionally with friends, would have a good time to like, oh, I'm afraid to drink alcohol. I can't have a good body composition. I can't have abs. I can't, look how I want to look if I drink alcohol. And so I would like avoid it at all deathly costs. Right. And so over time, it kind of took that whole, like sometimes you have to go through it. Like the only way, to it is through it type thing. It was like, drinking every once in a while and realizing, oh, absolutely nothing happens, or like also understanding, oh, well, yeah, when I drink for a few days, the scale's going to get a little squirrely, but then it's going to go back to normal biz. Also, if I cannot be an asshole after I've been drinking and like maybe, hey, maybe go home and like eat real food rather than like, again, that McDonald's fast food, at 2 a.m. I feel like got me a lot in college. But it was like, hey, can we still make like semi-decent decisions around food, even though we've been drinking? Okay, cool. And so it was like doing that enough and then building that trust with my body and with myself to see, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the scale does change, but it's not the end of the world. Yes, I can still drink, feel exactly how I want to feel. Yes, I can still, drink on occasion and look how I want to look. So that was definitely like a big turning point for me. And so present day, it's like if you follow me on social media, you'll see me drinking every once in a while, maybe. But for the most part, it's like now present day, it's just like alcohol makes me feel like total shit. And so I don't drink because I can't handle the anxiety, the depression, feeling super down, super blue the next day. Like that's why I don't drink. And so it is, it's like like I think even Charlie and I were talking about this and we're like, I think we maybe like had a margarita, couple times while we've been dating, but it's just not a priority for us. Cause again, it's like we would rather go do things and
Yeah.
be outside. But that was definitely a huge one with alcohol. That was like the giant aha is like, hey, okay, yes, alcohol can negatively impact my, hormones. Yes, it can negatively impact sleep. It can negatively impact all these things, but okay, also like the world isn't going to end if we have a drink or two on occasion or even more often than that, right? It's like, again, when we can have an understanding, then we can kind of build this dream life of, well, how do I want my life to look and how do I want to feel and all of that stuff. And then we can show up accordingly. So
Yeah.
that's my little bit about the booze.
Yeah, I think it just all that kind of stuff. I think it just takes time to figure that out too. And we've talked about this before about kind of that analogy of like a bowling lane. And you have those bumpers on the bowling lane. I don't know what those are called, but
Bumpers.
anyways, like to keep the ball from going into the gutters because you suck at bowling. Like I suck at bowling, terrible. So like it's kind of like that where you're trying to learn how to bowl. You suck at bowling, so you have those bumpers to help you. You hit the edges, right, to learn how to bowl, right, how to get the ball to go down the lane straighter. I think that's kind of where we're kind of talking about, especially with a lot of these things with like, food and alcohol or anything like that, or any practice. Like you got to learn, you got to give it enough time. And maybe sometimes you do end up doing some of the stuff that's like a little bit more extreme or rigid, and then you swing the other way. But then ultimately over time, the more and more that you understand how things work and work for you, importantly, you can learn actually what is actually aligned with how you want to live. And I think that's really a takeaway message I want to leave is like that. It just takes time to do that.